Decoded.
Welcome back to Book Decoded. Ever wished you could, hit rewind on a conversation, like when it went totally south, or handle a tough talk gracefully, instead of with, gritted teeth?
Yeah, I've been there for sure.
Well, today we're diving into a book that promises to give us the tools to do just that.
Sounds promising already.
It's called The Pause Principle by Cynthia Kane.
Okay, the pause principle.
And it's not about, suppressing your emotion. It's more about understanding how our biology, drives our reactions in those moments.
Interesting. So, understanding the why behind our reactions.
Yeah. And think of it this way. Imagine you're pitching a big idea, and bam, you're met with immediate pushback.
Uh-oh.
Your frustration spikes. What happens next? You, slam your hand on the table, storm out,
Oh, yeah. Been there.
or maybe even just freeze up entirely.
All of the above, probably. I think we've all had those moments where we just lose it a little.
Right. And that's where the pause principle comes in.
Okay, so how does it help us avoid those meltdowns?
Well, it basically highlights that most communication training, it focuses on what we say,
Yeah, makes sense.
but often misses the biological root of, how we react under pressure.
So it's like trying to fix a car engine without even understanding how it works.
That's a great analogy. It's about understanding those mechanics behind our reactions, not just, the words coming out.
So how does the pause principle get into that?
Well, it dives right into exploring the nervous system.
Oh, wow, getting all scientific on us.
A little bit. Specifically, it talks about this little part of our brain called the amygdala.
The amygdala.
Yeah, have you heard of it?
Vaguely. I know it has something to do with emotions, right?
Exactly. It acts as our fear center.
Oh, okay.
And in those stressful moments, it can
Mhm.
kind of hijack our rational thought.
So that's why we sometimes, feel like we're turning into cavemen at the worst possible times.
That's the perfect way to put it. But here's the good news. There's another side to the nervous system.
Oh, thank goodness. Tell me more.
It's called the rest and digest mode.
Rest and digest sounds much more peaceful.
Right. And this is activated through the vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve. Now, that's not a term I hear every day.
It's not something most people are familiar with, but it plays a huge role in regulating our stress response.
So how does this vagus nerve tie into the pause principle?
Well, the book offers some practical ways to engage the vagus nerve, during those tough conversations.
So instead of just reacting, we can actually learn to kind of control those nerves and respond more thoughtfully.
Exactly. And that's where the book introduces this framework called the soften principle.
Soften principle.
It's basically like a toolkit for hitting that pause button and choosing a better response.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this soften principle. Is it like an acronym or something?
It is. Each letter stands for a specific technique to help you navigate those challenging conversations.
This is getting good. Okay, so let's break it down. What does the S stand for?
S stands for sensation.
Sensation.
It's all about becoming aware of the specific physical signals your body sends when you're stressed.
So like noticing how your body feels in those moments.
Yeah. Do you get a tight chest, a racing heart, sweaty palms,
Oh yeah, all of those.
or maybe you feel like your insides are on fire?
My inside's on fire. Whoa, that's intense.
It is. That's actually how one of the clients in the book described her stress response.
Wow, okay. I can see how that would get your attention. And the point is not to judge those sensations.
Right.
But to just notice them. They're valuable clues that it's time to engage the own your discomfort.
Own your discomfort. Interesting.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to pretend those feelings aren't happening, we should actually acknowledge them.
Exactly. Which might seem kind of counterintuitive, right?
It does. Usually I try to just ignore those uncomfortable feelings and hope they go away.
I think we all do.
Okay.
But the book argues that acknowledging the feeling is actually the key to diffusing it.
The book suggests using specific techniques that directly engage the vagus nerve.
Ah, there's that vagus nerve again. So what kind of techniques are we talking about?
Things like touching your sternum.
Like right here in the middle of my chest?
Yep. Or gently pulling on your earlobes.
Wait, earlobe tugging is a strategy? That's hilarious. I'm loving this already.
Or even massaging the webbing between your thumb and index finger.
So we're using physical touch to calm ourselves down in the heat of the moment. I wonder what people would think if they saw me doing that during a meeting.
It might feel a little strange at first, but it can be incredibly effective.
Okay, I'm willing to try it. So we've acknowledged our discomfort and we're starting to soothe those nerves. What's next?
The F in soften. Focus on the present.
Focus on the present.
Okay.
It's about grounding yourself in the here and now by focusing on sensory details in your environment.
So instead of letting my thoughts spiral out of control, I should pay attention to things like the feel of my chair, the temperature of the room, or maybe even the aroma of someone's coffee. It's about using those sensory details to anchor yourself in the moment and create some mental space.
Like hitting pause on that mental hamster wheel we so often get stuck on.
Exactly.
I love that analogy. So what comes after we've focused on the present?
Then it's to take a breath.
Ah, yes, deep breaths. The classic reset button.
And they really are powerful. But the book goes beyond just saying breathe.
Okay, so what does it suggest?
It suggests techniques like belly breathing,
Belly breathing.
back breathing,
Interesting.
and even breathing into your feet.
Breathing into my feet. Now that one sounds a little out there.
I know it sounds strange, right?
Yeah.
But the idea is to direct your breath to different parts of your body to help counteract those physical manifestations of stress.
So it's like we're sending calming signals throughout our whole body.
Exactly. So we've calmed down our inner caveman.
Right.
We're grounded in the present moment.
Yep.
And we're breathing deeply.
Check, check. What's next?
Eyes toward another.
Eyes toward another. Okay, so now we're shifting our attention to the other person involved in the conversation.
Precisely. It's about remembering that you're dealing with a person, not just an obstacle.
That's a good reminder. It's easy to forget that when you're feeling stressed and defensive.
It is. And the book even suggests using phrases from loving-kindness meditations.
Wait, bringing meditation into a tense conversation. Now that's a game changer.
It might sound a little unconventional, but it can be incredibly powerful.
Okay, I'm all ears. What kind of phrases are we talking about?
Simple things like silently repeating to yourself, may you be well, or may you be happy, or may you be at ease.
So we're not saying those phrases out loud to the other person, but just directing them inwardly to cultivate a sense of compassion and connection.
Exactly. It's a way to shift your mindset and approach the conversation with more empathy and understanding.
This is brilliant. So we've softened our reactions, connected with the present moment, and now we're cultivating compassion for the other person.
It's like setting the stage for a much more constructive dialogue.
Okay, I'm ready for the final step. What's N?
N stands for need to say.
Need to say. Okay, so this is where we finally get to use our words.
Yes. But remember, it's not about finding the perfect words or winning an argument.
Right, right. It's about speaking from that calmer, more grounded place we've cultivated through the previous steps.
Exactly. What about phrases to use directly with the other person? Does the book offer any suggestions for how to respond to their words or actions?
It emphasizes the importance of listening actively and validating the other person's perspective, even if you don't agree with them. Simple phrases like, I hear you, or that makes sense, or help me understand your point of view can go a long way in de-escalating a situation and creating a more collaborative atmosphere.
Oh, those are great tips. I remember reading about one phrase that seemed kind of counterintuitive at first, but really stuck with me. Asking yourself, how can I make this a little deal?
That's a brilliant one because so often our emotional reactions make things seem so much bigger and scarier than they actually are.
Like we're blowing things way out of proportion in our own minds.
Exactly. So by consciously reminding ourselves to make it a little deal, we can take some of the pressure off and approach the conversation with more clarity and calm.
It's like shrinking that mental monster down to a more manageable size. Okay, so we've covered all the steps of the soften principle. I have to say, I'm feeling a lot more equipped to handle those challenging conversations now. What are your final thoughts on this framework?
It's truly a game changer. And the best part is these techniques are so practical. You can start using them today in any challenging conversation. It's not about becoming a perfect communicator overnight, but about having a set of tools to help you navigate those tricky moments with more grace and ease.
This has been incredibly insightful. The pause principle offers such a practical and empowering approach to communication. And it's not just for work, right? These techniques can be applied to any relationship where we want to connect more effectively.
Absolutely. Whether it's with colleagues, family members, friends, or even strangers, the soften principle can help us navigate those moments where communication feels challenging. It's about taking that pause, tuning into ourselves, and choosing a more mindful and compassionate way to respond.
And ultimately building stronger relationships and creating more understanding in the world. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, and I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear what final thoughts we have on this incredible book and the power of the pause. What's the biggest thing you're taking away from this book?
For me, it's that focus on the biology of communication, like understanding that our reactions aren't just personal quirks, but they're actually rooted in our nervous system.
It's like we're getting a peek behind the curtain to see how our brains are wired.
Exactly. And the most empowering part is realizing we can actually influence those reactions.
Instead of just letting them run the show.
Yeah.
And that's where the soften principle comes in, right? Giving us those tools to take control.
Absolutely. And it's not about suppressing our emotions altogether.
Right. It's not about pretending we don't feel anything.
It's more about acknowledging those feelings, understanding them, and then consciously choosing a different way to respond.
It's like we're upgrading our communication operating system. And what I love about the soften principle is how adaptable it is.
You can pick and choose the techniques that work best for you, depending on the situation.
Exactly. It's like a personalized toolkit for better communication.
So for our listeners out there, I have a challenge for you.
Oh, I love a good challenge. What is it?
Think back to a recent conversation that maybe didn't go so well, one that you wish you'd handled differently.
We've all been there.
Now think about which soften technique could you try next time to get a better outcome. Could you focus on your physical sensations, take a few deep breaths, or maybe even silently offer a loving kindness phrase to the other person?
I love that.
And if you're ready to dive even deeper into the power of the pause, definitely check out The Pause Principle by Cynthia Kane.
It's a game changer for sure. Well, that's it for this episode of Book Decoded. We hope you enjoyed this exploration of the pause principle as much as we did.
Happy pausing, everyone.